Soundstripe.
Welcome to South End Supporters, a St. Louis City SC podcast powered by Ready to Live Wellness and coming at you from the Warrior Logo Wear Studios. David Heck alongside Eric Cole and the Monday morning center back Dave Wyckoff. Gents, episode 2 this week. It will be a preview episode, the STL Kalachi preview of LA Galaxy as St. Louis makes another trip out to Los Angeles this time, but another portion of Southern California to take on the defending champs who are struggling mightily this season. An 0-2 start on the year, but it will be a Sunday night game at 6 p.m. at Dignity Health Sports Park. Dave, Eric, good evening, and what can you tell us about this game we're about to watch this weekend?
It's against the Galaxy, and it's Sunday night soccer.
That's it. All right. Well, we'll see you. It's time to get into. It's time to get into
South End submissions.
South End submissions.
No,
exactly.
Your match day three preview is brought to you by the fine folks at STL Kalachi in Sunset Hills, the home of the original chicken enchilada kolache. 1530 South Kirkwood Road, the intersection of Kirkwood Road and Watson next to Highway 44. So, what do we know about this version of the LA Galaxy? Well, we know they haven't won a game yet. That's what we know. 2 losses, 2 games. Still really struggling with injuries, most notably Ricky Puig. Nascimiento's missing. City's dealing with their own injury. Yeah, Painsel's out still. So City's dealing with some injuries, but I don't know that any team came into this season as injured and as shorthanded as the LA Galaxy. So you're getting them at a good time. City had some success against them last year, if you'll remember, right after they picked up Marco Royce, and City made him regret coming to the wrong team. So what do we expect out of this week? Well, the betting lines would suggest Las Vegas does not think that City has a very good chance. As of Monday night, the LA Galaxy are a -1. This is the 3-way bet with the draw involved. They're a -170 favorite. City a +380 dog with the draw being +330. So that's heavy to LA Galaxy. That's heavy on LA Galaxy taking it home. I don't know. I kind of find it hard to believe that City haven't given up a goal yet. They also haven't scored a goal yet, but would be that big of a dog against a team that's 0-2. So I think we've seen the better side of City so far, and I think we've seen the not so good side of City so far as possession and offense. We know the defense is going to be there. The side should still likely be healthy. I would imagine there's going to be some rotation again. I think that early on in the season, Olaf is really going to test his flexibility and his versatility. For example, I think that you might see that same lineup except Klaus instead of Betcher this time, and maybe even Celio instead of Teutschert. I think that might maybe a little bit more pace and a little bit more on ball skill might be just what the doctor ordered here. So look out for that. We obviously won't know until Sunday. But the boys heading back out to Southern Cali. I don't know, Eric. What are your thoughts? I'm optimistic because the defense. It's hard to lose when you don't give up goals. But why should I be optimistic that this team could pick up 3 road points?
Well, I'm really surprised that the line's that high because LA Galaxy's got a midweek game as well, so they're going to be coming off a short rest. Because they're playing what's that? CONCACAF Champions Cup, I believe.
Champions Cup.
So they got a game Wednesday night at 7:30. So I was a little surprised that when you're reading that it was so high, and based off their performance, it's not like we haven't been great, but neither has the Galaxy. And I know they're dealing with a lot of injuries. They've also let go of some key figures from their last year's championship team. But I was kind of surprised. We watching back highlights thinking like, oh, they're resting Royce already, second game of the season. But then I'm thinking, they mentioned in the broadcast that they had a midweek game. So they've got a congested schedule early on. So rewatching some highlights, areas that I think that we can finally expose and get on the score sheet is boy, if we can press as a cohesive unit, their defense, especially against San Diego, struggled playing out of the back. Their first goal that San Diego got was just on a clear misplay from their keeper as well as their center back. So I think that's an area that can be exposed. They also have been seeming to give up a lot of chances through crosses, but one of the biggest areas that I saw where they gave up a lot of chances was a forward or a winger getting down the wing and then the pass not going straight across the box, but almost cut back towards the penalty spot. So players that I'm highlighting as far as who I think could finally break this spell for us is Betcher or Klaus, just because they struggle dealing with crosses. At least so far this season, they've given up a lot of good chances from both Vancouver as well as San Diego on just crosses into the box. But the big ones that I could see highlighting is if it's Teuchert, if it's Celio, who's ever in that kind of almost withdrawn striker role, or even Hartle coming up in high into the press. And if we can get down that line and somebody can find space right at that penalty spot area, I think it's going to be open for quite a few opportunities. Now, we have to finish these chances off. Like, it's going to be a tough atmosphere again going to LA. I'm curious actually if they don't just have a camp out there this week and just enjoy the Cali weather. Not that St. Louis is really having bad weather at the moment, but just dealing with the hassle of travel. I wonder if they've done it before where they just make a West Coast trip and then come back. But I feel like, I don't know. I'm hesitant because they're going to be looking at this as like they got to have this as their turnaround game. But I think if we want to look at this as optimistic going forward, to me, you have to pounce on a struggling and weakened LA team now, and City has to look at it as this is our chance to really kickstart our season right now.
The over-under for goals in this game is 3.5, which seems like it seems. I mean, it's high because we haven't seen a goal in a City game yet this season. The draw no bet option, Dave, is the one that I'm intrigued by, which I like doing if you can get plus money on it because it's kind of an insurance. If they draw, then it's just a push and you don't have to worry about it. Even in a draw no bet, City is a plus 260 in this game. It's almost 2.5 to 1 on your money. It's pretty good considering how bad this team has played so far and how impossible it's been to score on City. So I don't know. I kind of like that. Corners are not out yet. They usually put those out midweek, so we're a little bit early for this, even though the episode is airing on Thursday. A little peek behind the curtain, people, especially if you're watching on YouTube. We're wearing the same things we were for the Tuesday episode because we're recording them together. However,
I thought about changing clothes, too.
I thought about that as well.
I was like, I should change my shirt.
Like, my entire closet is black T-shirts, so I think that I'm probably going to be wearing that regardless anyway. But I like the 260 line. I like that. You know, it's 330, but you gotta factor in the three-way money line with a draw there. But if you just go draw no bet plus 260 for City to win this game, like, they got to figure out a way to do that. And even if they don't, I mean, I really like the opportunity to get another point here in draw, I would think.
I feel like that's a confusing line though. So you're saying they're thinking there's going to be over 3 goals, is what they're thinking. But then they have
4
City
goals
who hasn't given up a
Galaxy
goal.
win.
But they have but then they have City, the complete underdogs when they haven't given up a goal all year. It almost seems like conflicting lines there, doesn't it?
Well, Eric, I don't know if you know this or not, but the bookmakers are not experts when it comes to the MLS, as we have learned before.
Have we said that on the show?
I don't think
before?
there's any proof
We have.
of that.
There are no player props available, probably because it's a Sunday game. I don't see any player props available yet for this. That will probably come out later on as well. That's probably why you don't see corners just yet. The Saturday games may have that. But because it's a Sunday game, and furthermore, because LA Galaxy is playing a midweek game, they don't know what's going to happen in between time. So they don't have all the lines out there yet. But I am curious who might pop up on, the odds to score a goal for City, because I did parlay one last week, and it came back to bite me, especially when Simon Betcher got pulled off the field a little later on. I needed him to put one in the net, and he couldn't. But, it is what it is.
I followed up my official prediction with a parlay that actually was really nice. A correct score 2-1 City with Betcher an anytime goal scorer. It's like plus 2,300. So when he came off the pitch, that was that was hard. That was hard to watch. But I
Are
don't
any of
understand
these?
this line, and
Yeah,
I don't understand the over under. I don't get it. Galaxy have given up 2 goals in their first 2 games. City haven't scored at all. I guess the midweek match, the odds makers are thinking that Galaxy are going to have some heavy rotation, which I guess that would kind of open things up for. But that's like are they saying that Galaxy are going to win 3-1? Is that really how this game is going to play out? That's
yeah.
one of the least likely lines I can envision is Galaxy 3-1.
When you get in even deeper, and you look at like the odds on specific scores totals for each team, the Galaxy is a minus 225 to go over 1.5, which means they're a 2-to-1 I mean, you'd have to bet $225 to win 100 for the Galaxy to score 2+ goals in this game. Really, their over underline, their target line at plus 135 is the closest to even money is 2.5. So they think they're going to be in that 2 to 3 goal range. Whereas City, they're a plus 150 to score over a goal and a half, a plus 190 to score over a half a goal. So they think that City's got a really good chance of just getting shut out completely.
I don't understand it.
Which is odd.
They've scored 1 goal against 2 theoretically lesser defensive teams if you go by like expected XG. So yeah, I don't know. That to me tells me that there's a lot of value on City if you believe in them, especially if they stay out there this week. You know, if they don't have all the travel wear and tear and they stay out in Southern California for a week, which we're recording on Monday, we don't know if that's the case. I think it would make logical sense, but man, you hear about in the NFL traditionally the West Coast teams traveling East Coast and and noon starts are usually good to bet against unless they play like back-to-back East Coast games and they stay out there or they go out there a week early. So I wonder if there's some of that going on. We have to keep an eye on that. But if I'm going with an official prediction, considering the rotation and the match in midweek, but also taking into account the fact that City have not scored yet, I'm going with a 1-0 City win on the road. 3 points, 1 goal, goal scorer, Marcel Hartle. I think it's time. I think it's time for him to put one in the back of the net.
Well, Dave just made my parlay, so I like that. Thank you for making me not have to think at all. So I appreciate it. Eric, your thoughts?
I think while they are struggling, it's still going to be a tough game. They still have a very strong 3 going forward with Christian Ramirez and then, Peck. And then obviously you still have Marco Royce, assuming that he will be, in the starting lineup or at least feature at some point throughout the game. So it's still a dangerous offensive going forward team. To me, where I feel like they're lacked or they can be exposed is on the defensive side. So I think the biggest thing is not just staying like we've been doing, not allowing, clear-cut opportunities for the Galaxy because they do have finishers. I think if we can keep doing what we've done the first 2 games defensively, I think we'll be in a great spot. The biggest thing is just going to be, again, finishing off those chances. I'd really like to see Wallum still be in that starting 11 and get him some space to work, especially even on the counterattack down that left-hand side, or even if it's Tots, just looking for the counterattack cross across the box and make those defenders have to do the work. I think Betch could get on with a header, and then I really do see like a deal, whether it's Betch or Klaus getting a ball played through and their cutback pass, and I'm with you on Hartle finding it right at that PK spot, finishing it off. So I'm going to go 2-0 City on the road with Betch and Hartle getting on the score.
That was oddly specific goal scoring scenario. I like it.
But
that was next level prediction.
I'm just going to speak it into existence because, man, I don't care if it's an own goal. I just want to see a number change next to that STL logo at the top of the screen.
Well, I had a very specific goal scenario happen, or that I predicted last week as well against San Diego, capitalizing on their high press and catching them on a counter, and seeing Klaus streaking up the sideline there and putting one in, upper 90. None of that happened. So hopefully, Eric, you're right this week.
There was a counter, and Klaus did have an opportunity. He just didn't put it in. So you were strikingly close.
I was
close.
Buddy. You almost saw it,
close.
buddy.
I also want to address that, Dave, you are representing us in the charity Pick'em.
Not well
Chris
so
Gephardt
far.
picks on. if I were in that thing this year, I would be crushing it.
You had me laughing so
I
hard when
never
you texted that.
I never remember to put picks in, so I got so many positive outcomes whenever the team would not score goals, which guys happened a little bit last season, and it's already happened twice. So I think I'd be in first place right now, but I'm not proud of that.
Last year was so funny when I would see us be tagged on Twitter saying like only the first game that there was no goal, and I just saw one correct guess, and then I don't know if he put it at first or not, but I just remember looking at the comments and seeing people be like, "Who the hell guessed 0?" And then I just happened to check the leaderboard, and I'm like, "Who moved up? Yeah, who did that?" And I realized, oh, David. I was like, he didn't put anything in. There's no way he gets 0.
So we currently sit obviously tied for last with quite a few other podcasts, including let's see who we have here.
Has anybody
Ball watching has 0 like we do. The city refs. The city refs are 2 for 2.
I'm gonna go with
They've guessed
They're
0 goals apparently.
They're not
picking. Yeah.
You think they're not picking?
I'm going to yell at
No, you
Monte
guys need
right
to
now.
hold them. You need to hold them accountable in that group text and tell them to make their picks.
Nobody guessed.
Yeah, so I think there might be some people that guessed 0. Maybe not the first week, but definitely this last week. I would imagine there were some 0 guesses. So either way, we'll try to right the ship this week, and hopefully, if we want to go odd goal score, I'll give you a goal scoring scenario. I'll give you a perfect one. Second half, João Klaus gets taken down in the box, and Marcel Hartle puts away the penalty, and the game.
You think Hartle takes it? You think Hartle takes it?
I think Hartle
on the
takes
field?
Lubin will be out by then. Based on they pulled him out the last 2 games around the 70th minute. Yeah, I got you.
You know who deserves one, and also possibilities. I'd love to see King Kess get on a header off a corner or something like that. Like with all the
maybe then he gets in team of the match day.
Since they're not going to pick him out for the defensive performance he's putting out, give him some sort of stat so he can get recognized in team of the match day. Because it's looking grim at this point for a defender getting in there for St. Louis City.
But that is your match day 3 preview presented by STL Kalachi and Sunset Hills.
Yeah, 1530 South Kirkwood Road in Sunset Hills. You got to love a good kolache, especially one from STL Kalachi. From one food sponsor to another, we go to Felix's Pizza Pub, who's back with us for the second season. Thrilled to have them back on board. Always remember to go over to Felix's to watch any city game, home or away. They are an official City on Tap bar now, but it's 6401 Clayton Avenue in Dogtown. Legitimately the best pizza and wings you're going to find anywhere in St. Louis. The slices are enormous, the sauces are great, and the jalapeno ranch, baby. It is the best sauce going.
You drizzle a flat with that jalapeno ranch. Oh, nothing better. Absolutely nothing better.
Stupid.
See,
That's a bad
even
take.
right there. He has to say you have to drizzle it because you can't dip it in the sauce cups because it's not possible.
Not dippable. I'd rather eat a 10
It's a drizzle. It's Felix's drizzle.
That's a statement right there.
Don't bash the sponsors. Just
Well, I don't
because
bash
they
the
drizzle
sponsors.
doesn't mean you have to hate
I don't
them.
bash the sponsors.
Their
When I'm at
drummies
Felix's,
are fantastic.
they are good, and their flats are as good as they can be, considering they're still flats. But the drummies there are great. I recommend just going all drummies. Pay the extra $1 plus whatever the upcharge. Just get the all drummies.
You guys are gonna alienate Kyle from No Goal and No Goal. I think No Goal Patrol's official stance is team flat. I think we've managed to confirm that. You're basically alienated an entire supporter group. So congratulations, well done, and one of our favorites. So nice job. No more towels for us. Great work.
I bet he's leading the trim, but all the rest of the No Goal Patrol are behind him, going like, I'm not with that. I'm with Dave. They
follow their leader.
Big stance, David, right there, and I'm with you on that. I'd go tendy over flat.
Yeah, all day. It's not even close for me.
He's never been right about anything in his life, including the things he agrees with me on. So just move past it.
Let's open this thing up. I know it's going to get weird this week. I heard we got a bunch of Reddit responses, so we'll see how it goes.
Reddit came strong.
Oh boy. Well, we'll finish on those. We'll kick it off with Facebook first. We'll go to our man Jeff Thornborough. He said San Diego looked really good. Was highly impressed with their overall play. Hats off to everyone involved putting together that roster. Will be interesting to see the dog days of the season, how much depth that club has. Think we should be happy ending in a tie. Coming from the South State supporter of Sykeston, home of the Throwed Rolls, Jeff Thornborough, a great American. Boy, what
Eric,
a sign off that is.
He is a great American. You had some throwed rolls from Lambert's this weekend, did you not?
I did.
Not
It
at that
wasn't
location.
Sykeston.
But
Yeah,
you did
location,
have.
but yeah,
Yeah.
we made a little weekend trip down to Branson, and so we stopped at. I believe it's technically Springfield where that location is,
Yeah.
and man, you can't go wrong with stopping in on Lambert's. And the
What's
kids
that? What's the name of that gas
love it.
station you stopped at on the way home?
I'll tell you for sure.
You sent us a video from that gas
Oh, he's
station.
got a
you stopped at
t-shirt.
on the way home.
It's the attraction.
T-shirt.
It's the attraction. You see it. You know what you don't see is Mobile One gas station, 100 miles. Mobile One gas station, 84 miles. Come check us out. You only see attractions when you're driving down the road that they highlight that. And that's exactly what Buc-ee's is. You don't get merch or sweet cups.
You've got a Buc-ee's cup. What are you?
I got a Buc-ee's cup right there. You don't get that at just regular old gas stations.
Yes, you
wanna talk
do.
about
People have giant
disagreements.
gas
You
station
do.
cups. They
That's
drink-
the thing. You
Not
do.
shaped, not
Out of
looking
all
like a
time.
beaver.
Do.
They don't have mascots. No, they don't. That I will die on this hill, especially once you're in there. You can't be inside of Buc-ee's and look around and just think this is just a gas station. It is an attraction that people go. Guess what? You know
I
what we
can
didn't
drive
do at
up to it
Buc-ee's?
and park at the gas pump and think this is just a gas station.
Well, you know what we didn't do at Buc-ee's? We didn't get gas. We went there.
Well, that was a
for
mistake.
the ambience.
That is a mistake, actually.
No, because I still felt so. I got me a
Now,
basket.
for
walked
okay,
around,
so
we were
so
in there
you
for
both
45
so
minutes.
we can put this to bed right now. Like we could put this to
you're
bed.
wrong?
So after you sent us that video, David, you're the third neutral party here. Did I
not
or did I
neutral
not
on
send
this.
you a screenshot? Well, but I'm saying you can confirm that this is what happened.
Oh, sure.
It's not
sure.
just I sent the group a screenshot of Apple Maps. I put in the exact Buc-ee's that he was at, and I sent you a screenshot of what the description of Buc-ee's was. And what did it say? Do you remember what
It
it
said
said?
gas
What it classified Buc-ee's as? It
did
said
say gas
gas
station, in fact.
station.
That's for legality.
Game over.
purposes, because
Case closed.
it's like any. No, you're wrong. I'm putting
No
out a poll this
further
week on
questions,
What is
Your
what do
Honor.
you look at? What do you look at Buc-ee's as? Solely a gas station?
No,
Or
no,
do you
no,
look
no,
at it as an
no,
attraction?
no.
No.
That is
That's what
not.
you guys are
no.
saying.
Now
No,
you're
no.
twisting
That's what you
words
guys are
there.
saying.
No.
Now you're
What
twisting
is
words.
Buc-ee's?
You guys are saying that when people
Is it-
look
is
at
it too
yeah,
bright?
Nobody
that's
can
your
see
point.
that, Dave.
It's not coming through because
Nobody
it's
can see
so
it.
wrong. Nobody looks at Buc-ee's and
Terrible.
thinks that's a gas station. They think everything that Buc-ee's
People that want to
offers.
get gas do.
Yeah.
This is just
But
absurd.
Yes,
people
they
who
do.
want to take in everything that Buc-ee's has, that's
I want to
what they
stop.
go for.
Listen. I do want to say this. One thing that I always agree with is that Jeff Thornborough is always positive. He's always he makes very good point. He doesn't argue with anybody. Jeff would probably be the neutral party in this whole thing and encourage us to see each other's view on things. I think Jeff is a great American. That's the hill that I'm dying on. I'm with Jeff Thornborough here, and I think everything he said was great. I agree with Dave in this situation. It's a gas station. It's a convenience store, probably, right? Like that's what it is at its core. That happens to have gas. You can do a lot of things there. Yes, I recognize that. But there's a lot of pumps. There's a lot of pumps, Eric. So just saying.
Handle all the people coming for the attraction. You know what? Call in South State's Border. Let's get your take on that there. So we'll move on to our man Tommy Beck. He says, "Do you guys think we've ever seen a better performance from a city defender than how Kessler played this Saturday? If there is, I can't think of one." Also, a question for Eric and Wyckoff. As you guys who have played and coached much of your life, is there any specific guys you look for while watching soccer that someone without an experienced eye might overlook? I think experienced might have to be in quotations there for us. But as far as the first part, man, better performance than Kess. I think maybe the closest one would be, I'm sure Parker's had a performance out there where he's got on the score sheet and still had a pretty solid defensive one, but for sure nobody who's had a back-to-back combination of performances put out like Kess has. So
How about
I would say,
2023? How about 2023 in Austin? First game.
yeah, getting on, that's the first thing that popped into my head too, was like him there. I know, I would say if ever there's been a performance, it would probably be, Parker, in my opinion. He may have had one in there close, but I mean, I feel like it's tough when I think about like games that I really feel like without Kess in that lineup, we would have lost that game against San Diego. Whereas in other games, I would, if I'm saying like without so and so, it's usually Berkey more so than somebody on the defensive line. So that's where I would maybe say it's tough to say that, you know, somebody's had a better performance than Kess, maybe.
Yeah, nothing comes to mind. I mean, Totland had some really strong performances at the beginning of last year. I think at one point we were talking about him being one of the better right backs in the league, but I think that was more from an offensive standpoint. So yeah, nothing really stands out. I mean, the team's only been around for so long, nothing really can compare to Kess. And I don't know that, you know, Parker was so aggressive that he made a lot of aggressive mistakes, even in games where he played well, you know. And I think that Kess just plays with a lot like more just calm demeanor and chill and control the game, whereas Parker, you know, he's brute force. He's gonna run you down and chuck you into the stands and toss you out the club, you know. And I don't think that Kess needs to do that. I think he plays a more cerebral game. So it's tough. I'm sure we're overlooking something.
Yeah, I would say Parker's more that old school defender, whereas Kess is kind of the newer, you know, better ball skills at the feet and a little bit more tactical in the tackles they make. While some of them are still aggressive, it's not as like, you know, bone crunching kind of as we kind of come to know with Parker. As far as that second question, boy, that's a tough one as far as like, you know, anybody specific, because I don't know about you, but for me, a lot of times I'm watching players that maybe played in my positions that I played, and so the wingers or someone in the central mid. But as far as a player, I mean, I think it's still going to be out, but I just see a lot of promise of what we can use with Vollum and when he's on the ball and in space, because we've seen it be very successful for Celio in the past. And I think if we can get him clicking and getting more space in the final third, because like you said, he had that one chance where he had space along the lines in the game against San Diego, and when he took it, it was very dangerous down the wing. But as far as a player that I would say, I mean, I feel like people would think that since we've kind of previewed him as a player to watch already, but I don't know. That's a tough. Do you have one in mind? Because I'm
a specific player to watch or like a position to watch. I'm sorry, I was getting my internet is having some issues.
Yeah, it says, is there anything specific you guys look for while watching soccer that someone might overlook without that experience? I'm looking. I guess that's wrong. It's not as much a specific player. For me, I'm looking actually more off the ball than I am on, and I think that would be something that maybe somebody that's not as experienced wouldn't be looking for. We were touching on a lot of people being upset with Klaus the first game, and we were like, but he was doing a lot more than maybe you realize just because he wasn't on the score sheet.
Yeah.
And I think that's where he gets a lot of flack a lot of times, is you don't see those runs or the specific hold-up plays that he does. You brought up a lot of great points last year about certain runs that players make that open up runs for the guys who end up scoring. So I would say more watching movement and players off the ball that end up opening up more successful things for other players to do on the ball would be.
Yeah, the first place that I watch the center mids, and I watch how hard the center mids work to open up lanes, because the modern game with the press and pressing in the final third, the center mids have to work extra hard to get open to then move the attack forward. So that's the first place I'm watching. Like, where are they moving? How are the backs setting up to get them the ball, and are they looking for them, right? Like, if you have a risk-averse backfield, then they just assume swing the ball back and forth from right to left instead of trying to feed it through the middle to your distributors. But when when the ball is at somebody's feet who I know can make that quality pass, I'm watching the backside a lot. I'm watching the far side of the field. I'm watching that far side forward or that far side mid, and who's going to make that run through the channel, who's going to make that run to the ball. Yeah, that's mostly what I'm watching. And then I'm watching. I mean, I watch those the run that is 2 or 3 passes away is what I like to try and spot when I'm not watching the ball. Right, like somebody really. I mean, I've got a man crush on him clearly, but Christian Pulisic, man, the dude, he never stops moving. He's thinking 2 or 3 passes ahead of where the ball already is. And sometimes if you do watch him, you're like, why is he making that run to that spot? And then it goes inside, outside. Oh, there he is on his own at the end line, ready to cross for a tap in. So those are the kinds of things that I try to watch when I'm not watching.
I think that's the type of stuff that you see with like the higher level players that could spot that ball getting there 3 passes later and they find that space. So yeah, I think those are 2 good points as well. Next, we'll go to Instagram and our man Eric O'Donnell, or EGOMRO4 on Instagram. He said, those kolaches were so good, I think I'm pregnant. Who's paying the child support? Hey, we tried to tell you they're good. I
told you to use protection.
They impregnate people?
Well, let's maybe we hope it doesn't do that. Maybe, I don't know. You get the outlining look of what pregnant is if you go.
Let's be safe when we're eating our kolaches. Let's use protection,
Yeah,
please.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no kidding. We should have put that disclaimer out there, I think, ahead of time. But
He
I
did
didn't
send
think
us. He sent us a series of stories of his eating experience. It looked like he really enjoyed it.
I mean, how could you not? How could you not enjoy it, right? Like, it's everything that you could possibly want. It's a bunch of great stuff wrapped up in this doughy. Oh God,
He had that.
I gotta get some
He
this
had
weekend.
that. He had that chicken bacon ranch, which we think is Eric Cole's probably what his favorite will be, and then he had that gooey butter cake one, which, oh boy,
It's nice.
oh boy,
It just sounds like he took what my order will be, pretty much right on my intentions there. Yeah, I can't wait to get over there. And Felix's. I'm having withdrawals from both those places.
Maybe
Next,
you
we'll make
get a
our
little
way.
jalapeno ranch from Felix's, and you dip the kolache into it, Eric.
we got a collabo.
I tell you what. That's how you get pregnant, right there.
That is.
Next,
Yep,
we'll
that's-
go to Twitter. We'll go to St. Louis City SC fan. They said, realistically, how many games can we go before drastic changes are needed? Does Melberg have half a season, shorter, longer? Would people be as negative with our start to the season if Philly and Carnell wasn't on fire? I mean, I don't know about you. I'm really happy that he's doing successful, but I don't think you could say if Carnell was here anything, this way or that. Like I don't think that, you can base off the fact that they've won, 4-0, 4-0. Like it could have just been the opponent, it could have been the night. So I don't think we should be ever comparing ourselves to what Philly's doing. It's always going to be a tough thing whether you let go of a coach or a player and they stay within the league. You're always going to kind of keep an eye on them and see if they do successful. But I don't think you can just say outright that if Carnell was here, we would have won or lost either of those games. As far as like how many games do we go? I don't want to become, Dave, you and I are both, well accustomed to this. I don't want to become one of these teams where you're rotating out managers every half a season. Now, I understand if things aren't going a certain way, you got to address things for sure, but I don't think we're there yet. I think we've had 2 decent performances outside of getting goals, but I think when the defense starts letting up goals and then we're not finishing on the offensive third, that's when it starts to become dramatic. If the defense starts to dwindle down and not put in performances and we're still not scoring, that's when I think, whether it's a change in formation, personnel, as long as we're seeing Melberg adjust and not just continue to roll out the same 11, continue to make it the same, subs at the same times, I don't see really an issue of what he's doing so far.
Yeah, I'm with you. Come talk to us when Carnell goes 5-0 in his first five with them, and then maybe we can discuss it. But it's just a different team, man. It's a different team. It's a different style. It's apples to oranges at this point. And I think the fact that we've already seen Olaf make proactive subs, like putting Durkin in that advanced midfield spot so they were stronger through the middle, not being afraid to pull people off. I think the one thing that I would like to see is second half subs. If you're going to make a second half sub for a push, let's not wait until 80 minutes. Let's get them in at 65 and let them grow into the game a little more. But no, I don't. This team and organization has moved on from Carnell, and the fan base probably should also.
I think that you give him a few more games to see how things start to trend. When you think about 2 games in, you knew it was going to be a tough start, right? The schedule's really hard at the beginning of this. And all things considered, I would have probably predicted like 3 points, probably winning at home against Colorado to start the season off, and probably losing, potentially. I think a draw is like best case scenario, knowing what we knew going into the San Diego match. So I'm happy with 3 points. You've got 2 at this point. So I think that they're not too far off. And again, the defense has been so good. Berkey's been the most abused goalie, I feel like, in the league over the past 2 seasons, and he's barely getting breathed on right now. So I think you enjoy that at this point. Just take it for what it's worth. The goals will come. We saw them score last year, but right now the defense is really, really good, and that's got to be in some part thanks to Mellberg at this point, I would think.
Well, other things, yeah, you got to realize Carnell also had like a full year with a lot of these guys prior to that inaugural season. Remember, he had a lot of involvement with that. He had like Leuven and Berkey and Klaus come over early so he could spend more time with these guys. Mellberg kind of had just, pretty much the summer. So the other thing I want to, say is let's see where we're at 4 games in as far as the performances and the record, because I also feel like 4 games in, those players that are healthy should be fit. We haven't had like a fit Choo-Choo, and he was one of our best offensive weapons that we had last year. Cielio is still getting back into form and just trying to get fit. So Leuven, he's been subbed out quite. The first game they said he was exhausted. So let's also see when we get fitness level and kind of game shape and game touches going a little bit more consistently, and then kind of make those judgments as well on, all right, there's no excuses now. There's no, fitness issues. He's had enough time with the team and we're still kind of not seeing things. That's when I would say things kind of change. And that kind of also transitions into the last one from Twitter that we have coming from our man Jeremy Clements, or Jay Clem. He said, how close are you to hitting the panic button on the offense? Now, specifically on the offense, I really feel, again, like going into the season, he realized the biggest thing he needed to address was the defense, and that was what was causing us a lot of issues last year, whereas the offense was kind of, rising as the end of the season came around. Now I feel like he's just trying to, now I got to maybe shift my attention over to the offense, and then, maybe get away from the silly things like I was talking about, like the flick passes that just weren't continuing to work, and addressing those things on the offense. But I wouldn't say I'm close to hitting the panic button, but I think this next game against the Galaxy will really kind of be like, hey, if we don't get goals here, then something really needs to be addressed as far as the offense goes.
No, the talent's there. I'm nowhere near being ready to hit the panic button on the offense. It's a talented team. They'll click into form. I mean, panic button would be like if you get into like April and you're still averaging and you're only averaging like a goal a game, or if that's your style or whatever, and you're not picking up points. So I'm nowhere close. I appreciate the question from Jay Clem. I think it's more of a discussion starter. I don't think he's close to it either, just trying to read the tea leaves. But no, I'm nowhere close.
The way I see it is that you've got Hartl, Betcher, Teuchert, Klaus, and Leuven. I mean, you've got like 5 guys that can legitimately put the ball in the back of the net. I feel like in any given Saturday or Sunday. I'm with you guys. Certainly, Dave, what you just said, like not ready to pull the plug or hit the panic button just yet. They will score. Goals will come. We saw this group, the same unit, offensively score plenty of goals down the stretch last season, kind of beginning around Leagues Cup time. I'm under the impression that it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen this week, going to be tough. We know that, but there will be plenty of goals to be scored, and then we'll find something else to, as a group, complain about. I am sure.
Most likely.
I think if you're going to have, one side struggling over the other, I'd take my offense still needing to kick on a little bit more than my defense drastically struggling. Where at least we're still 2 games in and we haven't given up a goal and we have 2 draws. It could be a completely different story if it's the opposite and it's our defense that's really struggling and you're coming away with 0 points at this point. So they'll get there. The talent's coming. So it's just a matter of just putting the ball away. But that's all I have on my end. So next we'll go to Reddit.
Reddit brought us strong today. We got 5 from Reddit overall, but the first one in the queue is from They Call Me Sly Fox, which, David, I know you're a big Sly Fox fan. So
I'm a Sly Fox lemming, Dave. Personally, I'm going to take a passionate stance right here on this program.
We like passion.
I think Sly Fox is the GOAT. I know that we've kind of like dubbed Femney that. I don't know who Femney is. Femney, my understanding, isn't even submitting this week. So when you think about consistency, you think about guys like Cal Ripken Jr. that go out and do it every single day, right? Guys that just nothing gets in the way of them performing. Sly Fox is that to me, and he brings it again this week as he does every week. He's the leader in the clubhouse for me. He's the GOAT until he's been de-goated. I'm all in on Sly Fox.
Well, again, I don't know why you're attacking the listeners. I think that's a problem. Femney is the GOAT, unquestioned GOAT. Sly Fox is strong. Cal Ripken is a great comparison. Femney's Babe Ruth. Femney is Hank Aaron. And there's levels to this game. And Sly Fox is a strong contender every week. If we had a prize, it'd probably be Sly Fox and Femney going at it 1 for 1. If it was an email of the day sitch, absolutely. But right now, all my Lions Choice coupons would go to Femney. It is what it is.
Femney's like Anthony Davis, and
oh my God,
and Sly Fox is like LeBron. That's
so
it.
You guys are highlighting like this season submissions. You got to remember some of the OGs that have. Patty Brinson almost burned down her house for this show.
Patty Brinson is great, dude. Patty Brinson is great. That's a sneaky play.
It's a different era, though.
As well.
It's all about eras, though. Like this is the golden age of South End submissions. Whereas I feel like we might have been in the dead ball era a little bit before. We're now in the steroid era of South End.
How many sports comparisons can we make to this right now? This is pretty good.
It's a sports adjacent show. Giraffes, sports, bow ties, things like that. Sly Fox did have a submission, and this was actually from 3 days ago. Teed it up. Submission for next episode, which is this episode. If the Energizer mascot wasn't a bunny, what would it be? If the Energizer mascot wasn't a bunny, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a
good one, right?
That's a good one.
You know what it would be?
What would it be?
It would be Sly Fox because he keeps going and going and going.
I don't think of a very determined animal that is not easily. How about a beaver? Beavers keep going and going. Yeah, I mean, not the gas station, but a real beaver. Yeah, I mean, beavers they just dam up rivers and they just keep going and doing it. And if the river washes the dam away, they do it again, and they just gnaw and build, and that's all they do. So I think that's a good one. Maybe an ant, right? Like an ant. Ant's a good one.
Honey badger.
Honey badger don't care, from what I hear. Yeah.
No.
So you guys went the work rate route. I don't know why my first thought was like, what's electric? I'm thinking like electric eel or something that powers like things.
Okay.
I went a completely different. My mind went a completely different route.
No, I like that though.
You can't
That's
have
fine.
an electric eel as a. You can't have an electric eel as a mascot though.
Says who? You can have whatever you want as a
anybody-
mascot, Eric.
Yeah.
Well, they don't make
This-
very
this-
friendly for like kid. What are they? What do you like? Shake its hand at the ballpark with the mascot.
Does a
It
honey
just shocks
badger?
you. It's
Honey
got one of
badger
those,
don't care.
Hand things.
You don't want to
badger
shake
will
either.
maul. No, honey badger will maul the children. You can have whatever. Listen, and this is a perfect. We're gonna go off topic here, but we're gonna talk food eventually. So, you can have whatever you want as a mascot, right? And I point specifically to the city of Portland. So, David knows who the Portland Pickles are, right? Dave, you've heard of the Portland Pickles, correct?
I should I? I don't know, Dave.
His
So
eyes
it's
did
okay.
not say that he has heard of
No, he didn't. Portland Pickles are minor league baseball. So we all know,
Okay.
the fan of bananas is the biggest thing in minor league baseball right now. But if you want to
Sure.
call that baseball, whatever. But the Pickles are an actual, I think they're like an independent Frontier League team. I could be wrong. Somebody let me know, Pickles fans, if I got that wrong. But the owners of as I understand it, the owners of the Portland Pickles have now started a semi-professional soccer team in Portland called the Portland Bangers, and their mascot is a giant sausage link, and it's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
Isn't that what the European version of bangers, like, isn't that a
Yeah,
sausage?
Bangers
Isn't
and
that what it
Mash.
is?
There you go.
Bangers and
So it's
Mash,
the,
yeah.
so it's the Portland Bangers. They've got a strong social media game, but the reason that I wanted to move into this is because today they posted, and I think this is maybe some of their stadium fare. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to follow up with their social media team. But what I have a picture of, and I sent it to the both of you. I have a picture of a hot dog with it's got some chopped onions and ketchup and mustard. Looks like a slice of cheddar cheese, like all that. But the bun is a pickle, a pickle split right down the middle, and they put the delicious banger right in the middle of that, and they call it this name is problematic. Don't say it really fast. Dill dog. It's a dill dog. It's a problematic name. Calm down. It's a problematic name. Make sure you enunciate. But I want to get your thoughts. I think Eric would absolutely hate it, because he has the palate of a 5-year-old. I think Dave would probably give it a shot. But let's give your unfiltered thoughts.
My initial thought is I hope that if they do have this advertised on an LED board, that the sign doesn't run out or, like,
Yeah, we don't.
lose some
That's
power
again,
at
it's
the
a
end.
it's a problematic name potentially.
Yeah, or I hope it does. I think that would be hilarious.
Yeah,
I think Jimmy John's maybe has a pickle witch. There are sandwich places out there where you can get, like, sandwich stuff between two pickles. It's very keto. A lot of sodium in a pickle. God, that's a big pickle too. I don't know. I don't know if I could go that route. I like
Are you a
pickles.
pickle guy?
I like
You?
them, but
Okay.
I don't want to eat like a giant pickle. You know what I mean? Like a couple of slices on like a cheeseburger's fine, but like a actual like whole pickle, that's a lot of pickle. And you know
That's
what's
a lot of
interesting?
pickle.
I don't like cucumbers at all, right? So
Same.
cucumbers to me is like my least. It's like my least favorite food. Like I don't even like being in the room when they're being cut up because to me, like the smell bothers me. Everything. I don't know. I have this aversion to cucumbers. But when you pickle a cucumber, I do enjoy it. I just don't think I'd want the entire thing. I'd take a bite, sure, take a bite. I don't know how it works for sauces or dipping any. I don't know how you would eat it. I guess you'd pour the sauce right on it, just like you would a hot dog. But yeah, for me, like I'd try it, but I'm not going to eat an entire giant pickle.
I feel like there's a lot of potential for a lot of satisfying. You got a lot of crunch in that.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it is a lot of pickle.
Don't you think-
do have to be a pickle
Don't you think the
lover
pickle's
to enjoy this.
overwhelming the pickle is overwhelming the hot dog though?
Well, you got to have a
I don't think
strong
you're tasting
Frank.
Much of the
You got to have a strong
Well,
Frank here.
no, it's a good point. And to Dave, to your point about having a strong Frank, I want to talk about the construction of the pickle itself because if you just slice the pickle in half and you put a dog or a Frank inside of that, when you go to squeeze that pickle dog, what's going to happen? Like that sausage is going to come flying out. It's going to be too slippery. So it's got to be hollowed out a little bit inside of there, I would think. So the sausage itself rests very comfortably inside.
You think it
the
needs to be
loins, so to speak, of
more
the
like a pig? You need to be more like a pig in a pickle rather than
It needs to have a home.
hot
It
dog.
needs to have a
Yeah.
home inside there because if you squeeze that
Yeah.
pickle, that dog is flying out of it.
I don't know. This picture
another
looks.
flop.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's potential for slippery sausage slippage, but I mean, I think if you cut it in half and you do it right, I think you're okay.
follow
Well,
up
there's
to
only one
that.
way to find out.
Do you guys have a favorite? Not that you've maybe whether you've tried or seen like gimmicky style ballpark food like that one there. Like, do you have a favorite that you've
Krispy
seen?
Kreme bacon cheeseburger at
Okay, yeah, that's where my
yeah.
mind went too. Yeah,
God,
that's where
yeah,
my mind went too.
I don't know if they still have it, but GCS Ballpark or whatever it's called now. I think it's just Grizzlies Ballpark, but where the Gateway Grizzlies play, they used to have that. It's called Baseball's Best Burger. I'm not sure if it's still on the menu there. I'm not sure if they still have a team, to be honest with you. I haven't been to a game there in a very long time, but if they do and that's still on the menu, it's sneaky good.
yeah,
Those are my
yeah.
moments
That
too,
is
yeah.
good. The what was? Oh my God, I sent you guys a picture of it last year, and I can't remember. Oh, well, I guess it's not really gimmicky though. But those brisket nachos that I had at Petco Park last year were one of the most amazing ballpark foods I've ever had before in my life. It was unreal. But that's not really gimmicky. You're
Yeah, I
talking
think it
more
would have
like
been. It would have been like 15 years ago, but now like everybody's putting stuff on nachos. You got all sorts of different meats
yeah.
and toppings and stuff. So it's like,
You're thinking
yeah,
more like up in Seattle how they're having like sushi and stuff like that, or I mean, DH when we did Walkie Bros. Well, you got Eric was there too. My apologies, Eric was there. Didn't mean
Thanks,
to
buddy.
offend. When we did Walkie Bros. Listen, I'm focused on sausage right now. One track mind.
a lot of sausage in
The
Milwaukee.
Sheboygan, the yeah, the giant Sheboygan in Milwaukee comes to mind. That was like a foot long sausage, which clearly appeals to South End supporters. But no, that was strong. I just love food. It doesn't matter if it's gimmicky or not. Just
It is
just give it
good.
to me. Whether it's pickle dog sushi, maybe not ballpark sushi, but I don't know. I give it a look. So did we come to a conclusion if what the
I
mascot would
forgot the
be? I guess
question.
we did. Eric
Oh
picked
yeah,
Yeah, the
Eric.
mascot.
See, sausage
I,
distracted.
I,
Sausage distracted
I think
everybody.
I think
So Eric picked
I
like
think
an
your
electric
answer
eel.
we'll go with there is no wrong answer. That's a good one. That's a thinker, buddy.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. So there's a collection of these that are also kind of what we've been talking about before. So I'll just kind of gather them all up, but I want to mention all the submitters too. So Tobin Santos has a good one. Is it just me, or is Leuven not doing much? What I want to say about that is the first game, Leuven, we talked about this, had all the time and space in the world. Like Colorado let him run roughshod over them all game. Long balls, progressive passes. He absolutely killed it. And exactly what we thought happened against San Diego happened. They did not let him turn with the ball at all. I've been critical of Leuven in the past for not working hard enough to get open. He simply did not have any time or space. That was a clear move by San Diego to get the ball out of his feet. And we kind of talked about this in the preview that Watts needed to step up in distribution and the backs needed to step up in distribution. And that didn't happen. And that's why you had so little possession. So I don't think that it's that Leuven is not doing much. I think that the first game he did what he does. The second game they took him away. So that's where I'm at with that one. Eric, what do you think?
I think I agree with you on the first game, and then I think the second game his role was a little different because he was just constantly tracking back to uh, stick to his defensive duties. When Hartle pressed
Yep.
high, him and Watts were just having to cover so much ground because San Diego did a great job. Credit to them beating our initial press, and then once they did that, they had a lot of people coming our way, and Leuven and Watts had to really they were outnumbered in that midfield quite a bit.
Yep.
So I think not to his own fault, he just never really got a chance to get going. And then when he was pulled pretty early, I think it was
Yep.
like the 60th minute or something like that. So I think the second game just he didn't really get a chance to. I think what we saw in the first game though shows me that he's got it, and he still hit a couple pinging passes in San Diego that did spring, but unfortunately, I think Betch had one that was a great
Yeah.
long ball that he sprung him on, but his touch was a little bit off, and then he was finding good passes, but they just weren't able to do much with it. So I think he was still there. It's
Or,
just easy
yeah,
to
when he
maybe
was
look at
finding
that
good
as losing.
passes, when
Yeah.
he was finding good passes, and it wasn't just him, this flows right into the next submission from JC Rocksteady. What was with all the attempted flicks? It was absolutely maddening. we talked about it a little bit on the last episode. The fact that they could not get any attack support was kind of really telling. Again, we talked about they never really clicked into counter. So the flicking needed to stop, whether it was Betcher or Hartle or whoever. Possess the ball, get fouled, get a free kick, move forward and attack. Yeah, JC, it was infuriating. We watched, Kay and I went to the pitch and watched the first half, and the flicks into nowhere where there was no support whatsoever. It was maddening. So we touched
like
on
after
that in the
after
Tuesday
four
episode.
After four that don't work for you, like at some point you have to say, like, all right, we're kind of getting battered here. Flicks or not just aren't working. Let's just hold the ball and give our defense a minute. So that's why I was that was what was more frustrating. Yeah.
In a game like that where the margins are so thin. Yeah, in a game like that where your margin for error is so thin because you don't have a lot of attack, it's like gaining ground like an inch at a time. Like you guys don't probably watch as much rugby as I do, and I'm not this huge rugby aficionado. It's one of these things where like I'm really fascinated by it. But one of the things that I've gathered so much about the game of rugby is it's so much about ground gained and then versus how much you cede. So a rugby team goes way down the field, they don't get a try, but then they kick the ball away to the other team. They try to cough in corner. It's kind of like punting in the NFL. So, but with constant play, City did a terrible job of that, where they would gain ground and then immediately give it all back up. So yeah, I don't expect to see that every week, but it was tough to watch. Equivalent prune. I love some of these names from Reddit. Equivalent prune 4244 tags as STL Santos member. So shout out. Recent defensive performance has been great, with Kessler in particular looking stout. With that said, the offense has struggled, and in particular the game against San Diego. What have you observed in the two games that needs to be improved offensively? I mean, we've kind of touched on that, so we don't need to go super into it, but more possession and then being more clinical with crosses and finishes. I mean, that's, if you're going to play a low possession, low chance game, you got to be more clinical in front of net, and you got to be more clinical in your delivery. Like we said, Totland, there was a tap-in goal to be had, and Totland flubbed his cross. And we could be talking about a different game. Same thing with Klaus. Klaus had a chance from inside the box and didn't finish. So, being clinical, that's what we need to see from the offense at this point.
Is anyone else surprised that with a name like Equivalent Prune, that the question was so legit like that? I'm impressed.
Yeah, if
on
you're gonna
Reddit,
have a name, you gotta
if you don't choose your own tag, there's an auto-generated tag for you.
Oh, really?
I did not
So
know
that could have just been, yeah. It's and they're real random. It's kind of like just almost like instant messenger roulette with some of these names. Shout out to millennials.
There we go.
And then the last one from Reddit was from Tiny Tomcat 12. Yes. I love that. And this is just about the chant. What the hell was the chant? Just curious. And we talked at length about that in the Tuesday episode, Tiny Tomcat. So if you'd like to go back and listen to that, you can hear our thoughts. But that is what we had from Reddit. But I had one for us in the spirit of the GOAT, in the spirit of Femni. I think we need to have a thought exercise to close this episode out. And what better to just go through Reddit and go through a thought experiment subreddit. And I found a couple of them, but this one really captures the spirit of Femni, I think. So this one is titled Dead Birds. So how about that? If you walked into your apartment, house, or living space and you found a dead bird, how many dead birds would it take before you knew somebody was messing with you?
Two of them.
The author of this is Big Tree 2407 in the Thought Experiment subreddit.
Yeah, Bimini lives on that subreddit. I would venture to guess. Although I'm not sure he gets access to Reddit in prison, which may very well be where he's at currently for
That's a serious charge.
illegal giraffe activity he's demonstrated in the
It's a
past.
serious charge.
But no, I think that two. One, you could make an argument for one. The first thing I'm doing, no matter what, is checking windows, because if there's no windows open, it's going to be hard to get a dead bird in the house. I think, I mean, maybe it could have been in the attic. It's possible, but if there's two dead birds in my house, something's up, and I'm not sure what it is. But I'm probably going to be pinging Femney, trying to find his Reddit handle and just DM him or something and say, dude, there's two birds in my house dead. This has your name written all over it, brother.
Now, does it matter what type of bird? So say you found like two crows dead in your
I don't
house.
want
What-
crows.
if it
I
was
don't want two crows.
But what if it was two dead chickens? Then you have
that-
many more questions.
One dead chicken's enough. Like
One
two
dead
dead
chicken?
chicken. Yeah, one. If
I
it's
think
a
that
if
that's
it's
a-
a robin or something, like I think I could pass that off as this could happen maybe. If it's one dead chicken in the house, there's somebody's behind that.
No, that's a
One-
great point to bring up. Is type of bird I think has a
Yeah.
lot of
100%.
difference. I think if I found, because we have found birds in our house because they have a way through our garage into our basement that we've had birds in our house before. So like your standard bird, I think if it's a chicken or something like that exotic, I'm thinking somebody's messing with me. If it's a bunch of crows, I'm moving. That's like horror movie stuff.
bad
there.
omen.
Like,
Are
I
you
think-
more
yeah, I think
concerned
the real-
about dead birds in your house or live birds in your house?
Again, based on the number, if I had a bunch of live birds, I would think somebody opened up Jumanji and started playing the board game, and they all
Yeah.
just found their way into my house. But man, live birds or dead birds, I'd probably be more concerned. If it was live, I would know somebody's messing with me. Like a bunch of live birds, then I knew somebody was messing with me. Like that would be the more indicated
Worst
sign that
live
somebody's
bird to
messing with me.
find in your house. Look up cassowary. You guys know what a cassowary
yeah.
is?
I'm familiar
Yeah.
with them.
No.
If
What's that?
you find a live cassowary in your house, you may just burn that house down. I mean, think
What's that?
like
I don't know that.
think like actual velociraptor, Eric.
Oh, like an emu?
More dangerous than an emu.
Because emus will mess you up.
Emus
They have
won a
that
war.
extended claw on their
So do
their
cassowaries.
raptor, and it'll
So do cassowaries.
yeah, they'll
but
rip
emus,
them to shreds.
look up Australian emu war. Emu is the only bird to have ever actually won a war against people. So yeah, emus in your house is bad. Let's just go ahead and say any birds in your house, live or dead, any number is probably an issue, and you need to get that taken care of.
Yeah, you do. We I don't know. Do we have a pest control sponsor of this program?
Exterminator
I'm not
sponsor?
sure.
No, I don't think
could.
we
We don't. Unfortunately, we have to work on that. We get the marketing
Yeah,
department on
marketing department. Yeah, we're gonna do
If
that.
you own an exterminator or pest control business and you are located at a 1530 building location,
Yeah.
please write in to South End Supporters.
take an application
We'd love to have you.
for sure.
that. But that is it
Felix-
for South End submissions. Yeah.
Yeah, Felix's Pizza Pub, South End Submissions. Remember, 6401 Clayton Avenue in Dogtown. They are an official City on Tap bar this season. So always go over there and check them out for any home or away game. If you're not fortunate enough to have tickets to a match coming up, they are a great spot to watch games when they are at home. But, of course, coming up on Sunday, I got to think that it's going to be a absolute pony show over there at 6 p.m. for the kickoff against the LA Galaxy this weekend coming up. Eric, where can people send these wonderful submissions every week?
They can send them into all our socials on Instagram. We're South End Supporters. Our Twitter and Reddit is capital SES_podcast STL. Make sure you also follow us on our Facebook page, as well as go check out our YouTube channel, South End Supporters. Make sure you like and subscribe, so that way you can see Dave do his pony expression like he just did a couple seconds ago.
It was nice. And again, thank you so much to all the sponsors, as always. Ready to Live Wellness over at 1530 South Kings Highway Boulevard. They continue to be our title sponsor here on this program. If you are looking to get swole like Eric Cole, you've got to check out Ready to Live Wellness. And, of course, the sponsor of our studios, Warrior Logo Wear, located at 12th East Main Street in Mascoutah. anything you need from any of your local sports teams, high school, you got team uniforms. Dave always talks about the branding and the website design that they do. Great work. And what was that? No hidden fees, I think, as well, which is an incredible thing.
No
Warrior
hidden
logo
fees,
wear.
Jack.
12 East Main Street in Mascoutah. STL Kalachi brings you that match day preview. We had match day 3 coming up. The preview, 1530 South Kirkwood Road in Sunset Hills. And then, as always, Felix's Pizza Pub at 6401 Clayton Avenue in Dogtown, bringing you my favorite segment every single week, which is the Felix's Pizza Pub South in Submissions. Thanks so much for listening. For the Monday Morning Center back, Dave Wyckoff. For Eric Cole, my name is David Heck. You have been listening to South End Supporters. We'll see you next week, and until then, let's go City.